If you are a senior living on Social Security right now, stop scrolling because the news we are about to share affects your wallet, your budget, and your peace of mind. After months of speculation, the payment calendar has finally been confirmed, and what it shows is something most retirees did not see coming. Instead of the single monthly check you are used to receiving, some seniors will see three separate deposits land in their bank accounts this July. Three payments, not one. That is not a rumor. That is not a theory. That is the official schedule now locked in by the federal government for this particular month. And the reason it is happening is hiding inside a small quirk of the calendar that very few people have noticed. Most beneficiaries who hear about this are shocked. Many are confused. Some are wondering if it is real or if it is a scam. That reaction is exactly why this video exists. We are going to walk you through every single detail, every date, every dollar amount, and every possible trap, so that you walk away smarter, calmer, and more prepared than you were 3 minutes ago. The truth is, this kind of three-payment month does not happen often. In fact, it only happens when the calendar, the federal holiday schedule, and the supplemental security income rules all line up in a very specific way. When they do, the result is an opportunity that retirees can use to get ahead on bills, pay down debt, or simply breathe easier, but only if they understand exactly when the money will arrive and exactly how much they are entitled to. If you do not pay close attention to the details we are about to explain, you could easily miss a payment you were supposed to receive. Or worse, you could spend money that you did not actually have yet. Let us start with the basics so that everyone, even someone who has never watched a finance video before, can follow along without any problems. Here is what most people know about Social Security. The government sends you one payment per month. That check or direct deposit arrives on a date that depends on your birthday, and you learn that date once and then live with it for the rest of your retirement. That is the simple version, and it is true for most months of the year. But July is not like most months. July begins with a very specific event that changes the rhythm of your deposits. On the first day of July, anyone who receives supplemental security income, also known as SSI, normally receives their payment for the month of July. This payment was already sent out on July 1st, so if you were watching your bank account closely at the start of the month, you may have already noticed the first deposit hit. But here's where the story becomes important. In some cases, because of how weekends, holidays, and federal rules intersect, the SSI payment that is officially meant to cover the month of August is also pushed into July. That means for certain beneficiaries, two SSI-style payments can appear inside the same month, with one covering July living expenses and one arriving early as an advance for August. Then, on top of that, the regular Social Security retirement or disability payment lands on its scheduled Wednesday in the middle of the month. When you stack those together, you have three deposits in one calendar month. That is the situation the official schedule now confirms for a specific group of seniors, and it is the reason this story is circulating everywhere right now. Now let us talk about who actually gets these three payments, because this is where many people get confused. And confusion in this case can cost you real money. First, the July 1st deposit. This payment is sent to anyone who is receiving SSI, which is a needs-based program for seniors with very low income and very limited resources. If you are on SSI, the government already sent your July payment on the first of the month, and depending on your specific situation, an additional advance payment for August could have been added to that same week. Second, the mid-month deposit. Anyone who receives regular Social Security retirement benefits or Social Security disability insurance, also known as SSDI, will get their usual monthly check on a Wednesday in July. The exact Wednesday depends on your date of birth. If you were born between the 1st and the 10th, your payment arrives on the second Wednesday. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th, it arrives on the third Wednesday. If you were born after the 20th, it arrives on the fourth Wednesday. That is your normal recurring benefit. The third potential deposit comes from the calendar shift we mentioned earlier. Because August 1st falls on a Friday in 2025, there is no reason for an early SSI push. But the rule still applies that when the first of the month lands on a weekend or holiday, the SSI payment for the following month must be sent on the last business day before that weekend. In certain arrangements involving combined SSI and Social Security benefits, this can create a third deposit landing in July rather than at the very end of the month. So the three payments are not a bonus. They are not free money. They are a timing arrangement created by how the calendar and federal rules interact. Knowing that, you can stop being afraid of being scammed and start being clear about what is actually entering your account. Now, this is the moment to slow down and pay attention, because what happens next is where most seniors make a costly mistake. When three deposits arrive in 1 month, it is very tempting to feel rich. Even if the total is only slightly larger than usual, the psychological effect of seeing three hits on your bank statement is powerful. People start to plan vacations. People start to buy things they have been putting off. People start to assume that their income has permanently increased. None of that is true. The August SSI payment that arrives in July is not extra money. It is your August money moved up by a few days. If you spend it in July, you will arrive at the beginning of August with no income and a very uncomfortable problem. So the smart move, the move that separates people who stay financially stable from people who get into trouble, is to treat every deposit as a label. Mark one deposit as July money. Mark one as August money. And treat the third one, if you have it, as either a buffer or a debt shrinker, not as a reason to expand your lifestyle. We have seen too many retired couples call our office in panic at the beginning of the following month because they spent an early deposit and then could not cover rent. Do not be one of them. The three payments in July are a gift of timing, but only if you respect the timing. If you have been waiting for a chance to pay off a small credit card balance, to catch up on a medical bill, or to refill a prescription supply that has been running low, this is your moment. Use the third payment to lower what you owe, not to raise what you spend. That single decision can save you hundreds of dollars in interest and stress over the rest of the year. If you have been watching carefully, you know that the calendar mechanics behind this three-payment situation are unusual, but they are not new. The Social Security Administration has been operating under these rules for decades. They are written into the federal code that governs how benefits are paid. The reason the rules matter is that the agency is required by law to deliver your benefit on time, every time, without exception. So when August 1st falls on a day the government is closed, the law says the payment must move earlier, not later. Early payments are not generosity. They are not a stimulus. They are not a bonus check. They are a strict legal requirement. But here is something most retirees and frankly most financial advisors do not realize. Because the government moves the payment earlier, the agency also adjusts the recovery in the next cycle. You will not be paid twice for the same month. You will not receive a windfall. You will simply receive your money earlier than expected for 1 month, and then return to your regular schedule in the month that follows. This is why my next point is so important. You must check your payment schedule before the end of July. You must confirm through your My Social Security online account, your bank statement, or the official payment calendar that the deposit you see is labeled correctly. If you see a deposit that does not match your normal amount, do not panic and do not assume it is a mistake. It might be the August payment arriving early. Call the administration if you are unsure. Better to spend 10 minutes on the phone now than to spend 10 days confused later. Before we get into the next big idea, if this information is helping you understand your money better, hit the like button right now and tap subscribe so you do not miss the next update. Your support is what keeps these critical alerts coming. Let us shift gears and talk about something almost no one mentions, but that quietly affects almost every senior who receives Social Security. Taxes. When 3 deposits land in July, your total annual income does not change, but the timing of when it lands in your bank account does. That does not sound like a tax problem, but it actually can be one if you are not careful. Some seniors receive Social Security benefits and also have other income, such as a small pension, a part-time job, interest from savings, or withdrawals from a retirement account. When you stack 3 payments in a single calendar month, some of that income may briefly push you into a higher tax bracket for that month, especially if you have other deposits landing in the same window. Does that mean you will owe more in taxes for the year? Usually no. Your annual tax liability is calculated over the full year, not month by month. But if your tax withholding from Social Security is set too low, a temporary spike in monthly deposits could trigger a smaller tax bill at filing time. The good news is that the fix is straightforward. Log into your My Social Security account before the end of July and look at your withholding settings. If the box says 0% withheld and you normally owe a small amount each April, you may want to adjust your withholding to a small percentage so that the 3-payment July does not unintentionally catch up to you next tax season. It takes 5 minutes and it can save you $1,000 or more. If you are one of the many seniors who do not file taxes because your income is below the filing threshold, you can ignore this part completely. But for those who do file, this is one of those quiet details that separates a smooth tax season from a stressful one. Let me also mention something just as important. If you receive both SSI and regular Social Security because of a special medical or disability situation, you need to be extra careful right now. The combination of these programs under one account means a small error in how the deposits are read can trigger an overpayment notice months later. We have helped families fight these notices, and they are not fun. The best protection is documentation. Save your bank statements from July, screenshot your deposit history. If a question comes up 6 months from now, you will be glad you did. Before we move on, here is a question that almost every senior asks at this point. What if my deposit does not show up at all this month? What if my bank account is empty when it should not be? That is a real fear, and it deserves an honest answer. Direct deposit issues do happen, and they happen more often than the government likes to admit. Banks can have processing delays. Routing numbers can be changed without the retiree realizing it. Sometimes the deposit simply lands one business day later than expected due to bank settlement times. So if your 3 payments were supposed to arrive in early July and one of them has not yet appeared, do not panic right away. Wait 3 business days. If it still has not arrived, call the Social Security Administration directly at the official number found on their website, not a number from a forwarded email or a social media post, because that is exactly how scams work. Scammers love to exploit moments like this. They love to call seniors and say a payment is delayed, and then ask for personal information to fix it. They love to send phishing emails claiming extra money is available if you confirm your bank account. Real Social Security representatives will never call you to ask for your personal information. They will never demand payment to release your benefit. They will never ask for your bank password. If anyone does, hang up. Block the number. Report it. The 3 payments in July are legitimate, but the scam artists trying to profit from confusion are very real, and they target seniors because they know retirees are listening carefully to every word in news like this. Now let us talk strategy, because information without a plan is wasted information, and you did not come this far to leave empty-handed. If you have 3 deposits coming in July, here is the simplest, smartest plan you can follow. First, sit down with a notebook or open a notes app on your phone and write down the exact date of each expected deposit. Write down the dollar amount next to it. Cross-check those numbers against the official schedule from the Social Security Administration website. Second, before any of that money arrives, decide in advance what each deposit is for. The first deposit covers your July essentials: rent, groceries, utilities, medication. Do not touch it for anything else. The second deposit, if you receive one, is your regular monthly benefit. Use it for what you would normally use it for. The third deposit, the early August payment that is being pushed into July, is not free money. Treat it as a savings deposit. Put it in a separate account if possible. Or use it to eliminate one specific debt that has been bothering you. Or use it to bulk up your emergency cushion so that the next unexpected bill does not push you into panic mode. Third, after the deposits land, log into your My Social Security account and verify that the records match your bank. This is your proof in case any discrepancy shows up later. Fourth, call your bank if anything looks strange. Senior account specialists can often pull up the exact routing history for any federal deposit within minutes, and they can flag any unusual activity immediately. None of these steps take more than 15 minutes combined, but together they can prevent the kind of small mistake that becomes a 6-month headache. And that brings us naturally into a topic that goes hand in hand with smart money management, and that is your long-term benefit protection. Every senior should be doing one very specific thing each year that almost no one talks about, and it is now more important than ever because of how the payment calendar is shifting. You need to read the annual statement the Social Security Administration mails to you, or you need to log into your online account and review your earnings record. That document tells you how much you are supposed to receive, how much you have earned toward future benefits, and whether your age, marital status, or work history changes anything about your payments. When 3 deposits happen in 1 month, some seniors get confused about whether their benefit amount has changed. It has not. 3 deposits in 1 month do not equal a raise, they equal a timing shift. To confirm that nothing else has changed, you must check your annual statement. If there is a discrepancy, and sometimes there is, you can file a correction request before the end of the calendar year. If you wait, the correction process becomes slower and more difficult. So while your bank account is suddenly fuller than usual, spend 20 minutes making sure the rest of your record is also in order. That kind of quiet attention is exactly what protects your benefit for the rest of your retirement, and it costs you nothing but a little time. Let us now look at the bigger picture. Why does any of this matter beyond 1 month and one bank account? Because the way you handle July determines how you handle every other irregular payment month for the rest of your retirement. If you learn to label deposits, to verify schedules, to separate windfall-like timing shifts from real increases, you will never be fooled by headlines telling you about stimulus checks, bonus checks, or surprise deposits. You will know the difference between a calendar quirk and a policy change. And that knowledge is what keeps your retirement stable when others around you are panicking over rumors. The truth is, most retirees will see 1 or 2 of these compressed months per decade. Each one is a small test of your financial discipline. Pass the test, and you build confidence. Fail the test, and you spend the next 3 months catching up. You are passing the test right now by watching this video, by learning the schedule, and by planning in advance. We also need to address one more thing before we wrap up. There has been some confusion online about whether the cost of living adjustment, often called the COLA, is being applied correctly, and whether the 3 payments are connected to that adjustment. They are not. The cost of living adjustment for 2025 was already locked in at the beginning of the year. The 3 payments we are discussing in July are a result of the way the calendar places August 1st on a Friday, combined with how supplemental security income rules require payments to be issued when the first of the month falls on a non-business day. These 2 events are independent, so if your benefit increased slightly at the start of this year because of COLA, that increase is showing up in every monthly deposit, not just in July. The 3-payment pattern is purely about scheduling, not about size. This distinction matters because if you ever meet a financial advisor or a benefits counselor, and they try to tell you that your 3 payments are a sign of a permanent raise, you will now know with confidence that they are misunderstanding the system. You will be able to correct them calmly and move on, and that kind of small financial literacy can save you from being sold services you do not need. So what should you actually do today, this week, this month? Step 1. Check your deposit schedule. Make sure you know exactly which Wednesdays in July are yours, and confirm whether you are also receiving a supplemental security income payment that covers August early. Step 2. Label each deposit in your records. Do not mix them in your mind. Step 3. Decide in advance what each deposit is for before it lands. Step 4. Update your tax withholding if necessary through the official My Social Security portal. Step 5. Review your annual benefit statement for any errors. Step 6. Protect yourself from scams by remembering that no government agency will ever call you to ask for personal banking details. Step 7. Take a deep breath. You are not behind. You are not missing out. You are simply witnessing a calendar event that happens once every few years, and you now understand it better than 90% of retirees watching the same deposit land in their account. Here is the most important takeaway from everything we have covered. The three payments in July are not a sign that your benefit has increased. They are not a stimulus. They are not a bonus. They are a small, predictable calendar shift that the federal government handles automatically. But how you respond to that shift is entirely up to you. You can spend it and regret it next month, or you can plan for it and use it to strengthen your financial position for the rest of the year. The choice is yours, and now you have all the information you need to make that choice wisely. You have learned the schedule, the rules, the trapdoors, the tax implications, the scam warnings, the documentation strategy, and the long-term discipline that separates smart retirees from struggling ones. That is not small knowledge. That is real power. If this video helped you understand your July deposits, please leave a comment below telling us what you plan to do with the third payment. Your answer might help another retiree who is watching and wondering the same thing. Share this video with a friend, a neighbor, or a family member who is on Social Security, because many seniors do not realize this shift is happening and they deserve to know. Subscribe to this channel so that the next time the payment calendar breaks in an unusual way, you will be the first to understand it. And hit that like button right now to help this video reach the thousands of other retirees who need to hear exactly what you just heard. The information in this video is free, but it is only free if it reaches the people who need it. You can be the reason it does. Thank you for spending your time here today. Now go enjoy those 3 July payments, smartly, safely, and on your terms.